Oh. Alright, this is it. It has arrived, so I'm trying to set it up. I don't think I'm going to get enough sun to prep it today. I was hoping I would, but I don't think it's going to happen. Right now it's running about 100 degrees with the clouds. See, this is all gray clouds. So it's running about 100 degrees. With a overcast, so I'd say if the sun come out, this thing probably will heat up at least 250 to 300 degrees at least. So I want to see how these things work. And my thoughts are, if this works well, our church supports an orphanage in India, an Indian orphanage, and I'm not sure, but I want to ask to see what they use to cook with. It's either going to be gas, I expect, or they're going to use they may gather firewood and cook off of a fire pit or something. I don't know, for the kids. I don't know. I have never been there, so I have no idea what kind of area it is. But they make a huge one of these things for $9,500. It's called a community or a village sun oven. And I may see if our church wants to try to get one for the orphanage. This is it. I bit the bullet. I've always wanted to try a solar oven. I had a book when I was in school. I don't know if I was in junior high or what, but it was a solar science solar project book. I wanted Dad to help me build a couple of projects. One of them was a solar water heater. They had a solar oven. Just different things. There's several different projects in the book, and Dad had no interest in messing with the projects, so we never did do anything out of the book. If I knew where the book was, I could probably try some of that stuff, but this thing right here is just, this company's been building these things for a while. They send these to underprivileged, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but underdeveloped countries where they don't have the access we have. They can't go to Walmart and go buy their food and stuff, and most of them will, cook off of a fire pit or something. So this company will go, and they've got a program, International Sun Ovens, and they place these things in these communities, these poor communities, for people to cook on. Teach them how to use it, and by purchasing this thing, if you could look up Doug and Stacy on YouTube, they're homesteaders. I think it's Doug and Stacy Off Grid. There's a coupon code that you can use, which is they've extended it. It was supposed to go out on the 31st. I ordered this thing on the 31st and got it today, which is the 3rd. So it was shipped fairly quick. So they have a coupon, $70 off of this thing. They did not charge me shipping for this thing. So what was on the site, I mean, with the discount, was what it cost me. There's no extra shipping and handling added to this. So they just shipped it. It's fairly like I said, I got it fairly just a few days after I ordered it. I've got it. So far it looks good. I've opened it up. I'm just kind of feeling my way around, trying to figure out how I'm going to use this thing, and we'll see what I can do with it. But I want to see if I think the orphanage that our church supports, this might be a good thing for them to cook for the kids on. If they're in a part of India, where it's hot and dry all the time, this thing right here would be perfect for a country like that. If you live out in the desert or somewhere where it's hot and humid all the time, and this probably just makes sense. I don't know why people aren't already doing this, but right now it's holding right close to 100 degrees. If the sun had come out, I'd like to see what this thing will get up to today. But anyway, I don't know. This is this is something I always wanted to play with, so I want to play around with this. I could dry vegetables with it and different things. I've got racks and stuff to dry stuff come packaged with it. It's got a what you call a whoppy for sterilizing water. You can heat water. I'm thinking, man, you take this, you know, if you got a good week of weather, I could go up to Indian Boundary Campground up here in Tellico, take this thing, I don't even have to light a fire. You know, for the whole week, you got sun all week, use this thing to cook with. So, we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so it's been 15 minutes. Where are we at? Well, if I can get it to focus. It's already got the 300 degrees, so it's gonna, this seems to be working pretty fairly well, like they claim. So here in a little bit, I'm gonna start timing this. I gotta cook this quiche, gotta bake it for about an hour. I may go a little longer than an hour depending on how hot this thing gets. It's supposed to bake for an hour at 350, and we're almost up to 350. I say about another 5 minutes and we're going to be at 350, almost 400. So if it gets up to 400, I'm not going to keep it in there quiet. I'm just going to keep an eye on it and hope I don't burn anything. They say you're not supposed to be able to burn anything with one of these ovens because the heat is even. It's evenly distributed. You don't have a burner heating the bottom of the pot. So these things are very forgiving for people that don't really cook, and I'm trying to get into where I do cook some, but trying to cook some quiche. We'll see how this turns out. I hadn't had pork quiche in a long time. That's some good stuff. They used to sell this stuff over at you used to be able to go to Pizza Hut and get quiche. I don't know if they still do that or not, but I saw this thing on Doug and Stacy Off Grid on YouTube, and they've cooked several recipes on one of these things. It's an American Sun oven. This is something like what you take camping if you want to take up in the mountains. You don't even have to build a campfire with this thing. Like I said, it's like in the 50s right now, and this thing's already up to 300 degrees. So it's gonna do what they say it's gonna do. It's kind of like using a slow cooker, I guess. I mean, it doesn't heat up quite as fast as if you stuck something on the stove or put something in the microwave. But if you're out in the woods or something like that and you don't want to start a fire or anything, this is a nice little gadget. Seems to be anyway. We'll see. Anyway, we'll see what happens. It is quiche without a pie shell, frittata, I think is what they call it. But looks like it's turning out pretty good. I left it in there for an hour and 10 minutes, and it looks like it stayed around 350 degrees in the oven, so that's pretty good. And with it being as cold as it is today, so this is probably not an appliance I want to use every day, but I've added it to my appliances I'm going to use from time to time. My next thing I'll probably try is it's still up at 300 degrees. It's cooled off a little bit, and I've not turned it to follow the sun. It's starting to cool down, but this is not something I'm going to use every day, but I'm going to play around with it. I'll probably make some chili next with it. See how that turns out. Slow cook some chili. Alright, so I just thought I'd make a video and just see how this thing's doing. And I may add a little more to this later. So, my opinion of the Sun oven is a very, very well built product. I like the fact that it has a solid glass and not a plastic glass door. This is a tempered glass door that's covering it. and they claim it'll last 20 years, and I believe it. I believe it's made well enough. I believe I'm going to get many years of use out of this sun oven. Very well made. Seemed to heat up fairly quickly, even after it had been 30 degrees the night before. It finally got up about 57, 58 degrees today. But yeah, it just works. So I can see myself in the summertime, if I decide to go camping or something like that, just for like a weekend or something. If I don't want to build a fire, if I can find me a nice spot out where I can set that thing up out in the sun, I can sit it on the back of the tailgate of my truck, and I'm good to go. So, yeah, I'd recommend it to anybody. So, just thought I'd give my input on the sun oven since I purchased one. Considering them, thinking about our church does an orphanage, supports an orphanage in India, and they cook with fire and propane. So they gather firewood and they use propane at times. So this company that makes the sun oven has a program. They sell these village ovens, and I'm wondering if maybe we can try to get one. Maybe if the church might want to try to get one for our orphanage to help save them from having to gather firewood and just be more self-sufficient. I mean, if you could cook off the sun as much as you can, that's going to save some money. I mean, it's going to save, if they're using propane, it's going to keep them from having to use propane. I mean, even if it's, lunchtime for the kids, or brunch or something like that, I mean, it can save them over a period of time. And the village oven's huge. It's kind of made for a situation like that, for like a community or a school or something like that to use. So, and the company goes out and trains the people how to use it when they deliver it. They show them how to set it up and how to safely use it and stuff. So, and there's a bunch of like bread pans and stuff comes with it and stuff. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm just looking at this stuff just to see how well it works. It surprises me that more people aren't already using this stuff to cook with. This stuff cut down on your daily living, cut down on your bills and stuff. I think Doug and Stacy have a outdoor kitchen, which I think is kind of cool. I like being outside, especially when I get out with my dogs, but I'm not going to be out cooking with my dogs. They'll end up eating up everything themselves. So, all right, well, thanks for watching.